Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Sandra and welcome to episode 5 of this knitting podcast called Knitting and Other Shenanigans. So I am here today. It will probably be a shorter one, but let's see once it's edited and then we'll find out. But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about a few things that I'm working on, because you might have seen in one of my previous videos I mentioned that my goal for this year actually is to increase my whip count. I know that might be completely counterintuitive for a lot of you out there, because probably a lot of you are trying to reduce your whip count. But yeah, 2020 has been one of those years for me where I've been almost monogamous in my knitting. So I was almost always, I had maybe one or maybe just about 2 projects on the go, but most of the time there was one thing I was working on. And that kind of, number one, that was kind of new for me. Like that wasn't something that I usually do. And then as well, I don't get a whole lot of time for knitting. I mean, probably still more than some, but I mean, I have 3 kids. Right on cue. I don't know if you hear this. I hope you don't. I'm gonna try and see if I can edit all the kids' noises out. There was a plan once upon a time to only record this when the kids weren't in the house. Pandemic. The kids are always in the house, and the whole family is always in the house. So yeah. Anyway, so where was I? Yes, I have 3 kids who are, as much as they're noisy, they're lovely. They're small, relatively small, between 3 and 9, so they still are very hands-on, very involved during the day. So really my main knitting time is in the evening for about an hour in front of the TV. So not all projects are going to be good for that. And that's why my goal was to increase my whip count, so that I can actually, I have knitting for specific occasions. But before I go into my whips and show you what I am actually working on, I actually do have a finished object. I mean, let's say it's my version of finished, which means the ends aren't woven yet. So we're still... But this is my hat. I think I showed this off on the needle the last time. It's just a really simple brioche hat, and then once you get into the crown you have really easy brioche decreases. So let me show you what this looks like. It's always fun with curly hair. Yeah, curly hair is sometimes a bit of an adventure. Anyway, this is the hat, and I hope you can hear me now. Actually, that might have been a smart idea. I'm just going to pretend that you can hear me. This is the hat. Maybe you can see the crown. I don't know. If I'm leaning forward, you might. So this is actually... Let's get the hair back where it's meant to be. Oh, yeah, it looks a bit messier than before, but hi, it's curly hair. So this is actually a pattern that I have written up, and it's gone to my tech editor, so I'm just waiting for her feedback on this. The plan with this is to release the pattern as a pattern for people who have never really knitted brioche before, so some knit experience but no brioche experience, and to ease them into it gently. Now I've heard from people that sometimes it can be a little hard when you're first casting on and going straight into brioche. So what this hat does, it has a normal, like a standard rib at the bottom, and then from there, like setting up to that transition from a normal rib into a brioche is so easy. So yeah, that's the plan with this hat anyway, to teach people or give a little intro into how to knit brioche. So I am not sure yet when the testing call will come out for this, but if you're interested, I will link below. If you sign up to my newsletter, you have the option to opt into test knits. So my newsletter is kind of divided into 3 categories overall, and you can select what you want to hear from, what you want to hear from me about. Oh, hang on. Oh, he didn't come in. Very good. So I can keep talking. Anyway, so subscribers to my newsletter can select of 3 categories that they want to hear from me about. So there is product launches. So when I'm releasing a new pattern, my my email list always know about it first. They are the first, you know, the first notification that I send out when a pattern is live is to my email list. And then also the email list gets a discount always for every product launch. And if I offer a general discount as well, my email list will always get the highest. Just, you know, they're my list, they're my people, they're special. So that's product, so pattern launches. The second is testers. So people on my email list will always get first dibs on testing a pattern. They are the first to know when a new test is live, and they are always the first that can get a chance to apply. And when then spaces remain unfilled, then it goes out for general to the general public. And then thirdly, I send out behind the scenes. So overall, between all the 3 categories, I aim to send an email a week. Usually on a Friday, sometimes when launches or tester calls, when that happens on a different day of the week, that might differ, but usually, yeah. So sign up, details are below, and you will absolutely be the first to know once this comes out. This test is going to be specifically for people who have never knitted brioche before. I'm sure there will be more brioche patterns in the future if you're interested, but this one specifically is just for people who've never knitted brioche before, because it is meant to be an intro into it. So that's the one thing that I finished. It needs to be blocked and ends woven in, but I will wait with that until it's a little bit warmer, because it was actually quite cold last night. Again, it was below freezing. Plus we had a little bit of rain, sleet, snow, rain, and in the evening. So this morning, actually, when I went out with our dog, the footpath was like one sheet of ice. Just one sheet of ice. It looked so funny when she was trying to walk on it. I stayed to the grassy bit next to the footpath, but she was constantly kind of slippery sliding. It was funny. Okay, so that was my FO. Now we're going to my WIPs, my works in progress. So the first one you have seen, and I just want to, I lost a crochet hook. Come back. I just wanted to show off, number 1, I remembered the name. Number 2, I wanted to show that I had actually worked something like this. So I knit about 3 evenings on it. I did 3 or 4 rows. The rows are long, the yarn is small, there's beads. So yeah, I added 1 bead. I did just a couple of rows. It's slow work, it's going to be a labor of love, but it's going to look stunning when it's done. And this is the Kirsty shawl by Helen Connington, unfortunately only available on Ravelry. So I'm not going to link it below, but Kirsty shawl, Helen Connington, if you want to look it up yourself. And just so that we know what we're talking, or you know what I'm talking about. So Ravelry has had severe problems with their accessibility since earlier into 2020. They released a new design of the page, which has made it inaccessible to a lot of people. It causes migraines, it causes visual disturbances in people, and since that has started, or since that was released, and really, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who have talked about the Ravelry accessibility problem, but really, the response from Ravelry has just not been great. It's not fixed. They will sunset their old design by March. You know, so I am, you know, I've always liked Ravelry, but this has kind of made me feel icky when I'm sending people there. So I'm not using links to Ravelry. And, you know, that can change again. And I mean, yes, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because I'm still selling my patterns on Ravelry. But realistically, if I wasn't selling through Ravelry, I would sell basically next to nothing. I would love to not use Ravelry anymore. But realistically, if I want to keep a business right now, it's just not realistic for me not to sell my patterns on Ravelry. There will come a time sooner or later where I will remove them for sale from Ravelry and will just keep them on Payhip. But I think I need to do some other background things first and kind of build my off Ravelry presence a bit more before I will do that. But you found out first, it will happen 100% as once it's sustainable for me to do so. Okay, tangent over. Then let's go in the order that I've cast them on. The next thing that I worked on is the Cassiopeia mini skein shawl. I hope this flips. I think it flips. So that is by Evan O'Keefe, who is an American knit designer living in Ireland, in Cork. And it was actually part of that countdown calendar that I showed off in my last video, so in episode 4. Go check it out. But this has started now, so the Cassiopeia knit along has started and kicked off on Wednesday, the 20th? There's weekly catch-up calls, weekly catch-up calls, which are fantastic. They're a great bunch of ladies. So if I think it's until the end of February, I think there's weekly calls on Wednesday at 7 p.m. European or GMT. And yeah, just join into the knit along. So this is my progress so far. Oh, actually, I love how the colors show in this. So this is the first one. So I'm using Eve Chambers Textiles, the mini skein set in Blue Faced Leicester in the Sunset colorway. So they're really bold colors. The Sunrise is much more subtle. And I was so torn between the two of them when I bought them, but I'm so glad I went for the Sunset because this is much more me than this. Like, I don't do subtle. But yeah, so the red is the first one here. Then it goes. That's the first fade here. And then I've just joined the third color here. So that is this mini skein. I've just joined this here. And then the next one is this one. So it goes a little lighter orange. So I'm caking them up as I go. I don't want to mix them up. So I want to know exactly, and I'm the kind of person I would just throw them all in a bag and then go, oops, which one is number 5? So yeah, this is wonderful TV knitting. It's purling on the back rows, so that's really simple. And then it's a 7-row repeat, so row 1, 3, 5 and 7, 1, 3, 5 and 7, actually 4. So there's 4 lace rows that just repeat. It's knit on the bias. So you're at the start of each lace row, you're increasing a stitch, and then at the end of each lace row, oh, that's the other way around. At the start of each lace row here, you increase a stitch, and then at the end of each lace row, you decrease a stitch. So that means that the shawl is kind of basically going to slant later. Once I've done some more, I can show you. And what I'm using as stitch markers, because it's a 10 stitch repeat as well. So I am using the set that came with the advent calendar as well, countdown calendar as well. So this is a star sign. So there's like the 12 star signs, and then there is one special. Where's the special? Where's the special? There you are, right at the start. And then there's a moon, which I believe is an exclusive to this Planetary Sisters collaboration. So working up, and sorry, they are stitch markers from Python charts. So that's working up beautifully. And then, because I still felt like I didn't have enough whips, I started swatching something this morning. I'm not going to show you too much of it yet, because it's still kind of playing around in my brain. But it's these two gorgeous yarns. So these are Irish made yarns, and they are actually Atlantic coast, and I turn around because I always have them there. Atlantic coast yarns, and this is the Shannon version. So this is, I'll get it. It's cashmere merino and silk. So cashmere merino, so 92% merino, 4% cashmere, 4% silk. So they have this kind of tweedy property. So there, I think that it's a 2-ply. It's still quite rustic, it's lovely, and so I had this idea, and it's working up all right so far. I might as well show you, it's not that far gone yet. So it's going to be some mosaic color work, and there's an idea rummaging down through my brain that just had to go into yarn this morning. And then I also finally settled on that garment. So I think I said last week, or last time that there was that I had a sweater quantity that I've been sitting in my stash for a while, and that I just needed to do something with. And so I posted a little while back, I posted like a suggestion box on Instagram to ask for people's recommendations for size inclusive garments, and or fingering weight in particular. And the feedback, actually the majority of people that gave their feedback, interestingly, they all agreed that I should do a flax. So you know, that many people can't be wrong. So I started a flax. So, oh, it's stuck, there we go. Now let me see that I get this out of here without disturbing it too much. It's still at that really weird starting stage, because I haven't gotten very far into it. But so I've decided to do the cuffs in a different color. So this is a leftover that I had from a test knit that I did for the Jinx Fest, I think it was called, by Truly Hooked, Verity. I was allowed to test her design, and then she also gave me the yarn support for it. So she provided the yarn for the test, which was amazing. But I had some leftovers in this color, so I this kind of turquoisey, I love it. But yeah, you can't quite see, there isn't much of the other one yet, but this is what it looks like in the cake, and then this is what it looks like in the skein. So yeah, that, you know, I just think that this looks really lovely. It's going to, like, it picks up, like the turquoise is going to pick up some of the color accents in this, so it's definitely going to match. So this is, yeah, Truly Hooked, who's a UK dyer. It's the standard sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 meters per 100 grams, and it's the colorway Settle. That sounded like a kid wanted to come in. Oh. Okay, yeah, the Settle colorway. So what I'm going to do is I've decided not to do the garter edge or the garter piece along the sleeves. I want to go for a simple stockinette. I am thinking about adding something, but then I think for my first proper garment, first proper like jumper for myself, I just need to keep it really simple, and that's I think what I'll do is the one thing that I will add or will use in this, obviously because I'm working with hand dyed yarn, I will alternate the skeins every round. So for that I use the technique called helical knitting. I learned about it from Grace the Babbler, or from Babble's Traveling Yarns Knitting Podcast. It's basically a way to work like rounds of each color or each skein, and then you just basically slip a few stitches when you're going into the transition. She has a fantastic tutorial of it live, but it's basically a jogless join. So you're basically always it's not noticeable once you're finished with your work. It's not noticeable how you that you actually changed skeins, which I really appreciate, because then you're doing the right thing by alternating. You're doing the right thing by alternating, but you're it doesn't show in your garment, which is fantastic. And on this one, actually, I am using another stitch marker set that I got from Python Charms. You have this little mini axe. Oh, it doesn't want to focus there. This one, and then there is these little unicorns. Autofocus is not my friend today. Anyway, so you have them there. So that's another Python Charms stitch marker set, which is, yeah, I like it. So it has the little clasp, so it can be a progress keeper, or it also has the little ring, which is something I just discovered. Like, I mean, I knew it had the little ring, but that it's so much easier to just use that than the clasp. So it has the little hoop as well, so you can use this to put that on your needle instead of the clasp if you want to. So that's all my whips. See, I said it was going to be a relatively short episode. There's a lot going on. I've had a lot of work re-releasing my Queanach hat. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Irish. Queanach means moss, and I have added a whole lot of functionality, a whole lot of features to the hat. It is now also available in a low vision version, which was important to me to make the pattern more accessible to more people. But it's also available in German. Again, something that was important to me, that I kind of go back to my own roots. I learned knitting in German, but I've kind of been like neglecting my German knitting and my German for a bit. So that was important for me. So there was a lot of computer time for me recently, like outside of work and everything. So yeah, the knitting, there hasn't been that much knitting, although I did cast on a few things. Yeah, so how are you? Let me know what you're working on down below. Are you trying to increase your whips this year? Are you kind of trying to keep them down? what's happening with you. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you want to be the first to find out, you can subscribe to the channel, and I love everybody who subscribes at the moment. I mean, there's a few of you, so hi, thank you for subscribing. And yes, I hope I will see you all again soon. Bye.